have that kind of discipline when I play the piano. I just play those songs as I play them. Especially in this film, because there's some songs that the audience might not really have heard unless they're hardcore ABBA fans.
Imagine being part of something so big, so monumental, that the whole world watches you, listens to you, and even dreams with you. That was ABBA, right? They were more than just a band. They were a living, breathing phenomenon, a global force that danced through our speakers with music that made us believe in love, harmony, and the magic of melody. But behind the scenes, behind those perfect smiles and glitzy outfits, things were not as flawless as they appeared. Benny Andersson, one of the founding members, has recently opened up about something fans never saw coming. The truth that tore ABBA apart wasn't just about the music, it was something much deeper, something heartbreaking, something raw, and as Benny confirmed, a revelation that's sending shockwaves through the entire music world. And believe me, when you hear what he said, you'll be left speechless. ABBA wasn't just famous, they were the dream team. The power couple of Benny and Frida, alongside BJRN and Agnetha, were the definition of music royalty. They were more than bandmates. They were partners in life, in love, and in the extraordinary music they created together. Fans adored them not just for their incredible voices or their electrifying performances, but for the way they seemed so perfect, so untouchable. They appeared to have it all: beautiful music, dazzling lives, and a love story that everyone wanted to be part of. But then, behind the glitter and the applause, things began to change. The pressures of fame, the relentless touring, the sleepless nights in the studio, and the strains of personal struggles started to show. What seemed like an unbreakable bond began to crack quietly at first, and while everyone speculated about why ABBA broke up, no one knew the full story until now. Benny's recent words offer a glimpse into the past, a past that was filled with love, music, but also challenges. It all began long before ABBA became a household name. Benny and Frida's love story started in 1969 at a Swedish music festival. Benny, already known for his work with the Hep Stars, saw Frida performing, and it was instant. There was something about her fiery red hair, her commanding voice, and that energy that seemed to electrify the room. She wasn't just another singer, she was different. She was special, and Benny noticed. From that moment, they were inseparable. They bonded over their shared love for music, their dreams of success, and their ambition to create something extraordinary. Together, they made magic. As ABBA formed and started to gain recognition, their love story seemed straight out of a fairy tale. They weren't just bandmates, they were partners in every sense of the word. Fans saw them perform side by side, sharing smiles and moments of joy, thinking that this love would last forever. But as the years went by, their relationship, like the band's meteoric rise, began to face challenges they never anticipated. ABBA's success exploded in the 1970s. They were no longer just a band, they were the band, selling out stadiums, topping charts, and becoming the soundtrack of a generation. But with all that success came immense pressure, and Benny, being the perfectionist that he was, took it all on. He spent countless nights in the studio, obsessing over every note, every harmony, making sure everything was perfect. But Frida? She was different. She thrived on raw emotion. She was spontaneous, following her instincts and letting the music flow. At first, their differences complemented each other beautifully. Benny's structure balanced Frida's fiery energy, creating music that was both precise and powerful. But as the pressures of the industry grew, those differences started to become obstacles. The long hours, the endless tours, the public scrutiny, it all began to wear them down. Frida loved the excitement of being in the spotlight, but Benny? He preferred the quiet, the peace away from the cameras and the chaos. Their contrasting lifestyles pulled them in different directions, and soon, the love that had once brought them together now felt like it was tearing them apart. Music was no longer the one thing they both clung to, it became the one thing that distanced them. The emotional strain was too much. The pressures of fame had slowly transformed their relationship into something neither of them had ever expected. This wasn't just about creative differences anymore. It was deeper, more personal. The love they shared, the same love that had been the foundation of ABBA's success, had begun to fade, leaving only the remnants of what was once beautiful. And when Benny spoke out, revealing the truth, the world learned what had really happened behind closed doors. Sometimes even the brightest stars burn out, and ABBA, in all their glory, was no exception. What started as a dream, a love story, and a worldwide phenomenon ultimately shattered under The weight of fame, pressure, and unspoken truths. And now, years later, Benny's confession offers a painful but necessary understanding of how everything changed forever. What had once been a love story, filled with shared dreams and harmonious music, had now turned into a battle of endurance. The cracks in Benny and Frida's relationship had grown too wide to ignore by 1979. They had drifted apart, both retreating into their own worlds. Benny, ever the perfectionist, threw himself into his work, spending countless hours in the studio, while Frida, feeling the weight of their disconnection, found solace in social events and time with friends. At first, it was just whispers, rumors of Benny's growing closeness with Monen Let, a woman he had met during an ABBA television special. The murmurs were dismissed, mere speculations. But the truth couldn't stay hidden forever. In early 1981, Benny finally came home and laid bare his heart. He confessed to Frida that his feelings for her had changed, that he had fallen for someone else. The impact of his words was like a crashing wave. All that they had built together, the music, the passion, the dreams, now felt like a distant memory. Their relationship, which had weathered the relentless pressure of fame, the exhaustion of endless touring, and the strain of their musical success, was over. It was a moment that shattered Frida. Heartbroken and betrayed, she could no longer pretend that everything was fine. After 9 years of being together, they ended their relationship for good. The fallout wasn't just personal. It reverberated throughout ABBA too. With both power couples now separated, the band's dynamics had shifted. What had once been a tight-knit, collaborative unit was now fractured, and the music that flowed so effortlessly before now seemed strained. No matter how much they tried to keep the dream alive, the magic that once existed was fading. The emotional toll was too much to ignore. The music that followed was different. Songs like The Winner Takes It All and When All Is Said and Done took on deeper, more melancholic meanings. The fans, who had once seen ABBA as the embodiment of joy, began to sense the sadness that now echoed in their music. The chemistry between the members had been the soul of ABBA's sound, and with that connection gone, it became impossible to recreate the magic they had once shared. In 1982, just a year after Benny and Frida's breakup, ABBA announced a hiatus. There were no dramatic farewell speeches, no grand final tour, just silence. They stopped making music together. For fans, it was the heartbreaking end of an era. The once unbreakable bond between the bandmates had been worn down by years of pressure, personal struggles, and emotional exhaustion. ABBA never officially broke up, but it was clear that their time as a group had come to a close. Yet, while their time as a band had ended, the legacy of ABBA was far from over. For decades, fans speculated about the real reasons behind the breakup, and even though the music had stopped, the story of ABBA was far from finished. Their legacy lived on, and the world would never forget the magic they had once created. No matter how it ended, for years, fans had speculated about the reasons behind ABBA's breakup. Was it creative differences, the pressures of fame, or were the personal relationships within the band the true cause of their unraveling? For a long time, Benny Andersson had remained tight-lipped, offering vague explanations in past interviews. But in a rare and candid conversation, he finally shared the painful truth, one that confirmed what many had long suspected but never fully understood. Benny admitted that the cost of fame was far greater than any of them could have ever imagined. The constant cycle of touring, recording, and media appearances took its toll, not just on their music, but on their personal lives as well. "We were young, and we were living this incredible dream," Benny said, reflecting on their rise to stardom. But at some point, the dream and reality started pulling in different directions. Behind the glamorous image that ABBA projected to the world, they were struggling. The immense success of the band placed an enormous amount of pressure on their relationships. Trying to balance personal happiness with the demands of global stardom became an impossible task. When you're in the middle of something that big, you don't even realize how much it's changing you, Benny admitted. When asked directly about his breakup with Frida, Benny didn't shy away from the emotional weight of their split. He acknowledged that the differences that had once made their relationship so strong had eventually become too difficult to manage. His long nights in the studio, his obsessive perfectionism, and their contrasting lifestyles created an invisible wall between them, a barrier that neither of them could break through. But it wasn't just their differences that led to the end. The moment that sealed their fate came when Benny confessed his feelings for Monen Let. He admitted that, despite never intending to hurt Frida, emotions are unpredictable. He met someone who made him feel something entirely different, and no matter how much he respected Frida, he couldn't ignore what was happening. I didn't plan for it, Benny said, but once it was there, I knew I had to be honest. For Frida, the confession hit like a tidal wave. She had always believed in the strength of their bond, and the reality of their breakup was an unbearable blow. Heartbroken, she struggled to come to terms with the dissolution of a relationship that had been central to her life for so many years. But despite the pain, Benny's honesty about the situation was a necessary step for both of them to move forward. Their breakup, as painful as it was, wasn't just the end of their personal relationship, it marked the beginning of the end for ABBA as a band. The emotional toll of their separation, combined with the pressures of fame, began to erode the once unbreakable chemistry that had made ABBA so iconic. And though they would continue to make music for a while longer, it was clear that the magic had faded and the group could never fully recover from the emotional weight of their fractured relationships. Frida, ever the professional, remained composed in public, never letting her personal struggles show. But those closest to her knew how deeply the split with Benny had affected her. In private, the pain was undeniable, but she kept her emotions hidden from the world, not allowing it to overshadow her professional commitments. As for the band, they tried their best to move forward as professionals, but the dynamic had forever shifted. The magic that once flowed so effortlessly between the members now seemed elusive, and it was clear that ABBA, as the world had known them, would never be the same again. The fallout from Benny and Frida's breakup wasn't just a personal matter, it reverberated throughout the entire group. ABBA's bond, which had once felt unbreakable, had been torn, and no amount of professional effort could fix what had been broken. The vibrant energy that had once defined their music was now shadowed by the emotional toll of their personal struggles. But was this truly the end? Could the magic of ABBA have found a way to return, perhaps in a form no one could have predicted? ABBA's story is one of passion, sacrifice, and a lasting impact that resonates through generations. They gave the world unforgettable music. But behind the scenes, they paid a heavy price. Looking back, it makes you wonder, could ABBA have continued if things had been different? Was their journey destined to end the way it did, or was there another chapter left untold? We may never know, but one thing is clear: the music they created will forever be etched in our hearts. What do you think? Could ABBA have found a way to move past their personal struggles and continue? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the music world. Before you go, check out the next video on your screen. You won't want to miss it.